All right, man. Peace. So, brothers, in the aftermath of Tom Brady's latest Super Bowl victory, number 6, that being, I received so many messages from so many cats who asked me if I was aware of whether or not I'd heard Tom Brady's interview. I believe it was with Gillette, where he finally acknowledged that his wife is a witch. And I have no idea why so many brothers were confounded by that admission, because I made a video about Giselle Bundchen well over 9-10 months ago, maybe even a year ago, called Giselle Bundchen, Apprentice of the Baphomet, in which I meticulously laid out in the video that without a doubt in my mind, Giselle Bundchen is a Luciferian. It was very clear, because as I tell you brothers all the time, I know exactly what I'm looking at. I know what I'm watching, man. I don't just turn on my camera and start talking shit, brothers. I actually read and research, and I know what I'm looking at. These people, they hide in plain sight. When I say these people, I'm talking about adherents to the craft. And they're everywhere, in all forms of communication, especially in the sphere of celebrity, particularly in the entertainment industry, the sports world, the singing world, the acting world, the higher aspects of the corporate world. They're there, the military, etc. It's the religion that is unspoken. Like they say, those who speak don't know, and those who know don't speak. So none of us really have a truly in-depth, full understanding of all the components of the Babylonian mystery school system, and not even the adherents of today have an understanding in its fullness, because they're just trying to piece together or cobble together what they can from what existed in the ancient time. But one of our main resources is the Bible. The Bible gives us a snapshot of the ancient world. And from there, you also have archaeological texts and historical manuals, mostly from the 1800s going into the early 1900s, where they lay out many of the practices of the Babylonian Kemetic mystery school system. And they still adhere to it today. Whether it's Madame Blavatsky or Aleister Crowley, or whoever you would consider the top priest or priestess from the reinvigoration of the Greco-Roman style of rulership over the earth, which started, I would say, maybe in the early to mid 1800s, especially in 1848, which was a very transformative year for the global society. That also, by the way, not only was when a series of Marxist/socialist revolutions were systematically executed all across the earth, that also is considered the start of the quote-unquote age of Aquarius, which is where you started to have many of the underground cults and covens start to step up and rule. And that is why they have very slowly and incrementally taught the masses how to venerate the Mother Goddess, the Father God, and their Son. So that's why I make many of these videos for you brothers, especially you brothers that are in the knowledge, so that you get a little bit more scope on what this is all about. Because one of the things that helps brothers become more invested in the scriptures is when they come to understand that the left-hand path is very real. Okay? You can't have a right-hand path without a left-hand path. You can't have correct without incorrect. So there's always an offset. There's always a balance. But let's get back to the topic of the video, that being Giselle Bundchen. She's a top-level model in the entertainment industry. And most of these top models are MK assets. They're monarch butterflies, beta programmed. Okay? Most of these models that you see on the Victoria's Secret catwalk, and that's why they call it a catwalk, because they're kitten programmed or sex kitten programmed. They walk up and down the catwalk. Many of them are transgendered, and almost all of them are monarch assets. And many times they're assigned to prominent athletes to watch them, because many of these top athletes are also MK assets. So they act as handlers, the wives I'm talking about. So let's get to this article here. It says, Patriots quarterback Tom Brady credits his wife, Giselle Bundchen, with their latest Super Bowl win. Specifically, he credits the former Victoria's Secret Angels witchcraft. Witchcraft, brothers. Once again, please refer to part 1 in this series. Giselle Bundchen, Apprentice of the Baphomet. I believe that the video that I did back then was based on a Vogue cover shoot that Giselle Bundchen did in which she was utilizing the index finger pointing upward, or the quote-unquote finger of Jupiter, aka the finger of John the Divine. She's very well steeped in the craft. All right, just to let you brothers know, she's very, very well steeped in the craft. And I'm pretty sure that she has all of Tom Brady's triggers, because he is sprung. That dude is sprung and a half. So let's continue on. Specifically, he credits the former Victoria's Secret angels witchcraft. So now you guys know how Tom Brady keeps winning. He himself owes his success to the craft. He says, "She said, 'You're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch,'" Brady said of his wife's spirituality. Spirituality should have been in quotes, but they left it out. They left out the quotes. Why is that? Because the author is letting you know that witchcraft, or being a Wiccan, or being a member of the craft, or Luciferian, is becoming more and more accepted as a real form of overt spirituality. Witches have been around, brothers, for decades and centuries. I'm talking about in what we call this modern quote-unquote civilization, governed over by the Caucasian. All of the quote-unquote founding fathers were witches, okay, i.e. Masons or Luciferians. Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they were all witches. And they did not truly believe in the scriptures, but they had to use the scriptures as a prop so that they could lead the masses. The masses are not meant to understand the higher aspects of the mystery school system. They believe that it would be too much for the average person to accept. They also believe, and for the most part rightly so, that people are content to dwell in the quote-unquote matrix. Okay? If they were to reveal to you how this society moves and what galvanizes it, that being the blood of infants and ritualistic sacrifice, sex magic, so on and so forth, many people out here would lose their mind. That's why they have to teach it to you and get you to accept it in steps and in stages. And once they feel like you're ready, once you reach a certain stage, then they reveal to you who the true God of this kingdom is, that being Lucifer. I'm not saying that. Albert Pike said that in his book, Morals and Dogma. You can look that up. Albert Pike, who was the sovereign master of Masonry, i.e. Luciferianism, in the mid-1800s, he said that the God of the Masons is Lucifer, or the light bearer. He's also known as Asar, or Amun-Ra. Okay? So that's what this is all about. And the god of witches is Pan, the quote-unquote goat god. So let's continue on. Let's keep reading. He said that she told him, "You're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch." What does she mean by a good witch? They believe that there are two separate forms of witchcraft, that being white magic and black magic. So they believe that the white magic is based on the elements that are outside of you. The black magic is what's based on your ability to manifest powers from within. They also make a distinction between what they call being a red witch, which is a bad witch, or a blue witch, which is a good witch. Okay? So those two colors are always at odds, the red and the blue. The red symbolizing the sun, the blue symbolizing Saturn. Saturn is also known as the black sun. So through alchemy, they bring the two together. They want to bring together opposites. So that's why you'll always see the theme of red and blue in opposition to one another. Whether it's in boxing, you have the red corner and the blue corner. You have the Crips and the Bloods. You have the Democrats and the Republicans. It's all really meant to act out the opposing red energy and blue energy. Even if you watch the film Empire Strikes Back, Darth Vader had the red lightsaber. Luke Skywalker had the blue lightsaber. So let's see here. He says, she said, "You're lucky you married a witch. I'm just a good witch," Brady said of his wife's spirituality. Brady told reporters that he believes the Patriots' win over the Rams was derived from the work the couple does spiritually. So once again, Tom Brady is not who you think he is. Okay? He's not who and what you think he is. That's why they make films like Eyes Wide Shut. And after Stanley Kubrick made that film, they had to remove him. because you're not supposed to make a film like that. And if I remember correctly, that film came out in 1999. So that was his send-off. Or maybe they told him to make the film to get the masses acclimated or accustomed to what they really do behind closed doors, part of their rituals. That was part of the Bacchanalian rites or the orgiastic rites, where people wife swap and have sex with one another in a pansexual fashion. Men with women, men with men, women with women. Both men and women with children, with animals. So on and so forth. Those are part of the Bacchanalian rites, where they venerate the goat god. So let's continue on. But once again, remember, Stanley Kubrick, he came out with that film in 1999. He also did a film that was relatively controversial at the time, back in the early 70s, called A Clockwork Orange, or Clockwork Orange, where, of course, that was an allusion to the sun. They worship or venerate the sun. That's why you'll see one of the touchstones of being able to understand what you're watching, particularly when it comes to a high-level Luciferian, is when they'll wear an orange hat or orange cap or an orange shirt. That's their way of letting you know that they're illuminated to the highest degree. Their sun is shining. Like the night that Tupac was quote-unquote killed. He had on the orange shirt. Tupac was an asset, by the way. A lot of brothers are always asking me about Tupac. He was an MK asset. As a matter of fact, he came from a family of assets. These people that you see in the music industry, in the movie world, they're actors who are acting like actors. You understand that? If you understand what I'm saying. They're actors acting like actors. That's what they are. Meaning there's a certain level of their personality where they know that they're acting. And there are other levels where they're being prompted to fulfill a role. And Tupac was one of those people. He was just a pawn in the game. And when they were done with him and ready to go to the next phase, they removed him. They had to remove him and Biggie because they had to prepare the way for Eminem, i.e. Master Mason, Marshall Mathers. He had to be brought in to change over the rap paradigm into something more global. But a lot of what I'm saying is more for another video. Right now we're going to focus on Tom Brady and Giselle Bundchen. Once again, Tom Brady has already acknowledged that he gets his powers from witchcraft. All highly successful athletes, I'm talking about on a preeminent level, are Luciferians. That includes Kobe, that includes LeBron, that includes Michael Jordan, Floyd Mayweather, etc. Now, many of these brothers are already gifted, but they choose to adhere to many Luciferian practices, either because it's part of their programming or they get introduced to the craft. And they want to be a part of the fellowship of being successful. In order for you to be successful in this society all around, meaning what? To be given access to and to have the ability to be made privy to certain opportunities, you have to be a part of the craft. That's why in the first video that I did on LeBron James, I believe that it was entitled LeBron James Heads to Hollyweird, that I showed in the epilogue how he was on the boat with Jimmy Iovine. Jimmy Iovine is a very high-level witch in Hollywood. So once again, that's why he headed out west. He headed out west so that he can convene with the higher-level witches in the entertainment witch coven. Let's see here. Let's see what Tom Terrific has to say. Captain America, as they call him. So once again, Brady told reporters that he believes the Patriots' win over the Rams was derived from the work the couple does spiritually. That means what? Seances, prayers, conjuring, most likely some level of yogic meditation where they can activate his kundalini or his serpent energy, things like that. But I mentioned that in another video about Tom Brady already. I told you guys that a lot of the meditation that he does, and you know who also does that? Deontay Wilder. He's another Luciferian. Allegedly. Once again, what I'm saying is alleged. But eventually it'll come out with him too. Tom Brady says, I have these little special stones, healing stones, protection stones, and she has me wear a necklace, take these drops she makes, say all these mantras. He's most likely talking about the use of crystals. Crystals are used by witches to conjure a certain level of success through the courting of energy. The famed quarterback also said Bundchen always makes a little altar for me at the game because she just wills it so much. She makes an altar for him at the game. Now, brothers, whenever you make an altar, you have to put something on that altar to pray to or to burn in effigy. So what is she putting on the altar? Is she putting an imitation jersey from the other team and trying to cast spells or curses on that other team? What exactly is she doing? Believe me, brothers, Tom Brady was into the craft before he met Giselle. It's just that she took him to another level. Okay? She's his handler. Says the famed quarterback also said, Bundchen always makes a little altar for me at the game because he just wills it so much, complete with pictures of his children. That's interesting. So she puts pictures of his children on the altar, and that's supposed to make him play better? Okay. I don't believe that that's all that's on the altar, brothers. Brady told the crowd that Bundchen foretold how Patriots seasons would go down. So it was early January this year, and I said, babe, I'm asking, like, do we have a chance? Oh, boy. You know, I get so many cats that come on my channel and they want to talk about how everything's rigged. And I tell you, brothers, all the time, the entertainment industry and the sports world is more about mind control and witchcraft and the numerological aspect within that than what you see from a lot of these dudes in the comments who are trying to act like they know what they're talking about. But the reason why people do that is because it's easier to say that than to do real reading and research. So let's see here. And she said, yeah, but you're going to have to do a lot of work and you're really going to have to listen to me, Brady said. What does that mean? She's trying to reinstill and reinforce within the mind of Tom Brady that his success is directly correlated with his willingness to adhere to whatever she says. That's a handler tactic. Now imagine if she were the athlete who was competing and she said that her husband was a practicing witch and that he told her that your success is predicated on how much you listen to me. I promise you that there would be some female reporter or some simp male reporter who would tell her that she should leave that man because he's toxically masculine. But she could tell Tom Brady that in order for you to be successful, you have to listen to me. Tom Brady says, so man, I listen to, I bet you do. And then right after the game, she says, see, I did a lot of work. You do your work, I do mine. In other words, Tom Brady, no matter how hard you work, no matter how talented you are, your success is connected to me. You need me. You can never leave me. And when I say she's thinking that, I'm not just speaking about the concept of marriage. I'm talking about a spiritual soul tie. What he basically is a golem for her. He's just a vessel. She owns his soul. It says, watch the video to see for yourself. Well, we'll watch the video in the video that I'm going to do on Tom Brady and his Luciferian ties. According to the Wall Street Journal, Bundchen builds her beliefs around astrology, Buddhism, Taoism, and the Mexican spiritual guru, Don Miguel Ruiz. Now, brothers, when it comes to the term astrology, that term literally means words from the stars or word from the stars. And it involves the veneration or the worship of the planets and the quote-unquote constellations. And it's completely Luciferian. That's why the scriptures tell us, I believe in Deuteronomy, the 17th chapter, about how we're prohibited from worshiping the sun, the moon, or what the scriptures call the host of heaven. Talking about the quote-unquote planetary bodies, the constellations, etc. The Most High laid those objects out in the firmament for us to understand certain mysteries. They're not to be venerated or worshipped. They're there to serve us. We're not to serve them. Astrology basically connotes an obeisance to the host of heaven, and we're not to do that. Giselle says, I'm an optimistic person. I believe that what we give energy to is what grows. I agree with that. If you focus on positivity and this higher, lighter vibration of love and good things, they will eventually come. To a degree, I agree with that as well. But where we diverge is that I don't believe that she's being fully transparent on how she plans on making sure that that good energy comes her way. I believe that she uses conjurings and mysticism and witchcraft to ensure that things go her way. All right, so brothers, now in this epilogue, we're just going to go through a few photos to hopefully further the point, which really should not have to be furthered anymore, particularly since Tom Brady made the admission that he made, that being that his quote-unquote wife, a.k.a. his handler, Giselle Bundchen, is a witch. As we can see here, it's one of the customary poses that you'll see. Just the left eye exposed. The left eye is for the veneration of the mother goddess. It's also known as the Eye of Hathor. You'll oftentimes see the females in the entertainment industry or who are involved in the craft just expose their left eye. That's meant to show you that they venerate the feminine principle. They're adherents to the belief that there is a mother goddess and that is the true God. They also will call her, at least for the masses, they'll use the term Mother Nature, especially during like Earth Week or that time period from late April, really starting at Easter all the way to May 1st. They'll tell you about Mother Earth. That's to get you to worship the feminine principle. Mother Earth is talking about Eve. Okay? Remember, Eve was the first real Luciferian. She's known in many other cultures by various names, whether it be Rhea, spelled R-H-E-A, or in Kemet, they had other terms for her. I believe one of them was Mut or Maut, M-U-T or M-A-U-T. Terms like that for the mother goddess. The Greeks call her Gaia, G-A-I-A. But these are not just characters. These are real people who lived and they had certain attributes which caused their progeny to worship them. Now, the people of Kemet, they had Hathor, who was known as the cow goddess. What is the meaning behind the symbology of the cow representing the mother goddess? Well, for those of you brothers who read the scriptures, you'll know that milk is always associated with knowledge because milk is the great nourisher. You're nourished with milk. It helps you to grow. It also helps you to heal when you drink your mother's milk. This is a concept that I'll be going over in another video, more in depth. But once again, when they show the left eye is for Hathor, the mother goddess or the cow goddess, aka the goddess of knowledge. As we can see here, she has her right index finger over her mouth to communicate what? That she's privy to the secrets of the craft and she'll never tell. She will never tell. She'll give her life before she releases or communicates what she's actually about. They're not allowed to do so before the time. Here we go with Giselle utilizing twin yonis, or as many cats call it, the 666 symbol. It's for sex magic, symbolizes the penis and the vagina. And also, yes, it does symbolize the quote-unquote 666, which is another term for Saturn or the hidden god, also known as Amun-Ra or Latinos. It's talking about Cush and Nimrod, and also to a degree, from an extended perspective, is also talking about Adam. Because Adam was the first Saturn. He was the first hidden god. He was the first Pan. Meaning what? He turned aside. He hid. He followed his lusts, that being his wife. That's why he's known as an earthly man or carnal man, Adam. He was the first Pan. And you also had people who came through the wicked lines of Ham and Japhet and even Shem, who reinvigorated many of the ideologies that were taught before the flood. That's why the Most High tells us in Genesis, the 9th chapter, that he's the God of Shem. Shem was the last bastion of righteousness. But once again, I don't want to diverge off topic too much. As we can see here, Giselle is utilizing the so-called yoga pose. She's supposed to be mocking herself, meditating. But she's in on it. She is a member of the craft, a very prominent member of the craft. Now, this is her with an MK handler photographer by the name of Terry Richardson. You'll see him a lot. He takes photos of many of the MK assets, and he's been busted a few times for being sexually deranged, to put it mildly. His name is Terry Richardson. You could look him up. He does a lot of photo shoots with the top MK assets, whether it be Rihanna or Beyonce. He's photographed them all. This is him again with Giselle. She's throwing up the so-called hang 10 or the hang loose sign, which is another way to communicate that she's a worshiper or a venerator of the horned god. You'll see this hand sign used many times. It was introduced to the Polynesian or the Hawaiian people by the Jesuits. Okay? The Jesuits are the sect that used this hand sign and introduced it to the Hawaiians, who introduced it to the masses. They call it the hang 10 sign, but it's really meant to be in veneration of Baal. If you look at it close, it looks like the horns of a bull. There she is again, throwing up the same sign, the so-called hang loose or hang 10 sign. There she is again, throwing up the same sign yet again. Once again, throwing up the same yoni sign. This is purposeful, brothers. This is not by accident. And she's trying to make sure that her left eye is highlighted, to let it be known that she is a worshiper of the mother goddess. She is privy to the quote-unquote modernized Babylonian Kemetic mystery school system. Now here's Giselle with her golem. Look at Tom Brady here, looking like a whole bitch. Oh man, she made that man wear a t-shirt that says "I love Giselle." Why is that, brothers? Because she is his handler. I've been telling you, brothers, this for a very long time. These top level celebrities in the entertainment industry, athletes, their wives oftentimes are their handlers. Not all the time, but oftentimes they are. Now, brothers, pay very close attention to this photo. Not just the photo, but also the magazine. The title of the magazine is ID. But if you pay very close attention, you'll see that it's really an emoji for the left eye of Hathor. You see, you see that if you were to turn it upside, if you were to turn it to the left or rotate it 45 degrees, it would be a big smile, a nose, and then the right eye will be shut and the left eye will be open. So this ID magazine is a Luciferian magazine. And most of these top magazines are Luciferian magazines, like Time Magazine, Newsweek, ID. I believe that Gloria Steinem had a magazine called, what was it called? Was it OK Magazine? Something like that. I know there's a magazine called OK Magazine, and we know that the hand gesture for OK is what? It's the yoni or the 666. But I just found this very witty. They do this in a very slick way, a very sly way, that if you're not paying attention to what you're looking at, it'll slip right by you. But her face actually replicates the title of the magazine, which is ID. And once again, when you look at the title of the magazine, if we were to rotate it, I believe 45 degrees, or pardon me, 90 degrees, you see that the left eye is the only thing that's open. The right eye is a slit, and it's a smile. Here she is again, doing the shush sign with her index finger to show you that she's privy to the secrets, and also that she's a venerator of the boy god Harpocrates, or Harpo, the god of secrets. Remember, Harpo, or Heru, is just the reincarnation of Ra, the sun god. So that's how we know that Ra is also just another altar for Hermes, because the son of Hermes is Hermaphroditus, who is the god that has both male and female parts. Hermaphroditus is the same as Harpo or Harpocrates. All of these various names are just that. They're just different names for the same entities. All right? When you get a firm understanding of it, then you start to grasp why, oh, okay, this is why they worship the mother goddess. This is why they worship transgenders. This is why they're trying to promote women, because the women are acting as microcosms of the mother goddess. This is why they're trying to tear down male hegemony, because male hegemony is not going to allow you to be ruled by your emotions. When you're ruled by your emotions, then you can engineer society. When you're not ruled by your emotions, Society cannot be engineered. It really can't be changed because everything's going to occur according to logic and reason and rationale. Here she is again, the same left eye theme. You'll see this theme over and over again with these prominent females in Hollywood. Once again, it's the Eye of Hathor. Now, this was a very interesting photo. We'll see quite a few themes here that I touch on this channel repeatedly. We see the black, red, and white theme for the black mass, the bringing together of opposites, the black and the white, and then the red representing fire or blood. Okay? This is for the black mass. It's showing you here that she's a priestess of Pan. Remember, the black masses were always held to try to summon Pan, the goat god. When we look very closely, we'll see here that she has the cat ears, showing you once again, like I tell you, brothers, that these top models are kitten programmed. They're sex kitten programmed. They're MK assets. They're under mind control. Okay? She has the cat ears. She looks like she's going through some type of conniption where she's trying to look sexy, even though she has no curves, no body, no nothing. So a lot of cats believe she's a tranny. Might be. Who the hell knows? Okay? Everything I'm saying is alleged. She's trying to pull down her shirt to show what? I don't know. Maybe them itty bitty titties. Who knows? Either way, she has a tongue out as an allusion to her being a cat, and or to the goddess Kali, who always has her tongue out. Once again, brothers, we are not to worship the host of heaven. You'll see many witches, they worship the moon because the moon is symbolic of the mother goddess. Whether you call her Diana or Artemis or Hecate, they venerate the moon because the moon represents the mother goddess. Now, in some cultures, the moon represents a man, like in the Hindu religion. I believe that they call the moon Soma or Som, S-O-M-A or S-O-M, which is actually supposed to be an allusion to or represent Shem, because he was that light in the midst of the darkness that held on. But that's a whole other topic. Point being is this: in the witchcraft circles, they worship the moon because the moon represents the mother goddess. That's why you'll see, like on many of these award shows, you'll see the female entertainers, they'll have the crescent moon earrings or the crescent moon necklace. They're showing you that they're witches, brothers. Most of these women are witches, as a matter of fact. Okay? A lot of these broads that you meet out here, not to digress, a lot of these broads are into witchcraft, man. So you make sure that you watch yourself. Here she is again, forming the quote-unquote heart symbol around one of the hosts of heaven, the sun, which we also know the sun is utilized in many of the Babylonian Kemetic mystery school rites. The sun represents Ra or Heru. I believe that the sun was known in the Hindu pantheon as Surya or the seed, S-U-R-Y-A. And the sun also is used as a symbol for Baal and also for the serpent god. Okay? So we have to make sure that we know what these symbols mean when they use them. Also, she's always using the heart. I mentioned this before. There's a reason why the heart is venerated. You see a lot of time on some of these clothing lines. Like you have that clothing line where they have the heart with the eyes on it, right over your actual heart. You'll see many celebrities wear that clothing line. That's purposeful. That's to show you that they venerate Baal or Bel. Okay? In the ancient Aramaic, which was the language of the Babylonians, both the word for heart and for the sun was the same word, that being Bel. Like, for example, if you might have grown up going to Catholic schools, like I went to a Catholic elementary school and a Catholic high school, many Catholic schools have that name, Sacred Heart, right? The reason why they have that term Sacred Heart is because that's meant to be a way to hide the fact that what they actually hold sacred is the sun. They worship the sun. All right? And that's how the Babylonian Kemetic mystery school system works. They use double talk or double language. We see here again, she's putting the heart over the rainbow. Now, the rainbow, as we all know, has a righteous meaning and a righteous understanding. It's found in the book of Genesis and also in the book of Revelation. where we see the use of the rainbow. But on the left-hand side, the occultic meaning. Like for example, you have the album by Pink Floyd, where they have the prism, and the light goes through the prism or the pyramid, and it comes out through the rainbow. They believe that the rainbow represents the pathway between worlds, between the physical world and the spiritual world. I mentioned this a long time ago. Remember at the end of the film E.T. E.T. represents Pan, by the way, the goat god or the god of lust, the god of pederasty. That's E.T., the god of witches. Remember at the end, he flies away in his spaceship and it leaves behind a trail of a rainbow. Remember in the film Thor, for those of you brothers who watch Marvel movies, he has to travel from one planet to another, quote unquote planet or plane to another, via the Bifrost or the Rainbow Bridge, right? So the reason why they venerate the rainbow is because that's the pathway to the spirit world. That's the pathway to communicate with the spirits that they believe are going to give them blessings or advantages in the physical world. This, of course, is another photo conveying that she's a worshiper or venerator of Hathor, the left eye of Hathor. Brothers, if you pay really close attention when it comes to many of these photo shoots with these celebrities, you're going to start being able to pick stuff up right away. You're going to say, oh, they're saying they worship the mother goddess. Oh, they're saying they worship the sun. Oh, they're saying they worship the son of the mother goddess. It gets to be like clockwork once you understand what you're looking at to a degree. Now, this photo I found on her Instagram, very revelatory. One major component of worshiping the sun is also worshiping fire, because fire or torches or candles were meant to communicate a microcosm of the sun. Remember, the Most High tells us not to let our children pass through the fires to Molech or to Baal. Why is that? Because the fire represents regeneration. It represents transformation. You walk through that fire and you're transforming. You're going from the physical world to the spiritual world because you're being sacrificed to Baal. So that's why the Most High tells us not to allow our children to walk through that fire. I mentioned this in many videos. You watch the film Rocky IV. Apollo, the sun god, when he emerges to fight the dragon or Ivan Drago, he emerges out of the bull's mouth and the bull is flaming. Okay? Rocky in those films is Heru. You have Apollo and you always have the opposition, Apollo being the adult sun god. And they already know that the people of Kemet, they know that they were Negroid. That's why he has Apollo Creed played by a black man. Okay? That's why he has that. Because there's no, and I'm not trying to digress, but there's no such thing as a Greco-Roman pantheon. All of those gods came from Babylon/Kemet. Okay? They all came from Babylon/Kemet. There's nothing really to argue over because all those gods are not really gods at all. They just, they're just idols of the nations. But in Greece and Rome, what they did was they took the images of those gods and they altered them. And many times they kept them the same. They would still worship Isis or what have you, and they would still depict her as a so-called black woman. Many of these statues that you see in these museums are complete fabrications. Okay? When they show them or depict them as Caucasian, they're complete fabrications. But the Imperial Roman Empire and the Macedonians who conquered Greece and took on that name, Greek, they were Caucasian, yes. And they were heavily involved in the altering of the image of many of the Kemetic gods. But just to get back to the point, this person here, Giselle Bundchen, she's showing you that she's a fire worshiper. She says when you connect with the fire within you, anything is possible. She's talking about mind activation. She's talking about illumination, and she's talking about transformation by walking through the fire. Now, this is another image that I found from a woman from ancient Kemet doing the same back bend. And it's described as a quote-unquote yoga pose. Yoga is not just for fitness. It's meant to assist you in communicating with the spirit world by getting in touch with your quote-unquote higher self. So once again, there's nothing new under the sun. The reason why they depict Giselle Bundchen doing it over fire or within fire is to show you that she's a fire worshiper. Once again, when you look at these people's social media and their Instagram and they try to act like they're so at peace and everything is just about praying and wishing everybody the best, behind the scenes, behind closed doors, they understand that there are more unseemly aspects of the Luciferian system, the quote-unquote Babylonian mystery school system, that they have to adhere to if they want to ensure success. And once they go through the levels, they don't care about what they have to do because things start to work for them. So they become infatuated with control, with the control that they have over this world, and they're willing to do anything, sacrifice children, whatever, drink blood, whatever it takes. Point being is this, as we can see from this photo right here, once again, there is nothing new under the sun. Now, brothers, I stated in a video a very long time ago that often you'll see many of these celebrities or hopeful celebrities, they will show those in the know that they're willing to get down with the team or that they're already down with the team by posing with a goat in their photos. They will hold a kid, when I say a kid, meaning a young goat, in their photo to show you that they are apprentices to the Baphomet. That's why I told you, brothers, a long time ago that this woman or this person, Giselle Bundchen, is an apprentice to the Baphomet, the quote-unquote goat god, aka Pan, or Khnum, or Benebdejet, whatever you want to call that entity. As we can see here in this photo, look at what she's posing with. She's posing with the goat, out of nowhere, or seemingly out of nowhere. Well, let me prove my point a little further. Here we see her quote-unquote husband, Tom Brady, posing with what? A goat. And this was a very long time ago that this photo was taken. This is not recent. So, before naysayers come in and say, oh, he's posed with a goat because he's the goat. Why are you trying so hard? No, you dumbass. The reason why they had him take this photo with a goat is to show you that that is who he worships. That is what he worships. That's why he's associated with or linked with Giselle Bundchen. They're both in the craft. Tom Brady is fully aware of what it's all about, but I'm going to be delving a little bit more into him in the video that's geared to him. But let's bring it home even further just to, once again, carry on this theme. We see it again. This person here, for many of you brothers who might have forgotten, who might be looking at her face and be like, I know this white woman from somewhere. Where's she from? This chick played the Terminator in Terminator 3. If you remember, she was the bad Terminator. She was fighting against Arnold Schwarzenegger. I believe her name is Christiana Lokinen or something like that. You brothers could look it up. Either way, she's a known Luciferian. She's not even someone who tries to hide it. She's an overt pansexual. She'll tell you that herself. And as we can see, she's holding the black goat representing Pan. Okay, that's something that they do in Hollywood or in the entertainment industry in photos to let you know what they're really about. It is what it is. Hopefully, I won't have to make a part 3 to Giselle Bundchen being an apprentice of the Baphomet, and I prove my point even further. So peace.